What's going on, everybody? My name is Silverback and welcome to more Outrider videos. Now today we're going to be talking about how you can actually defeat the third official boss, which is Moloch, and to some he can honestly be pretty difficult, so I'm going to give you some very important tips that should help you defeat him. Now as we play more Outriders and hopefully the server stays stable, because I've been having an issue where I'm constantly off a server, on the server, off the server, on the server, right? Hopefully we can go ahead and get more content out to you guys, because I'm going to be doing a lot of end game builds. I'm going to be doing a lot of legendary farming videos. Everything that you need to know for Outriders, we're going to full send into this game and try to provide you the best content and best guides possible. If you want more of that content, you want to see more of me, just again, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's free. All you got to do is tap this little red button at the bottom, and then you're subscribed and you'll get the latest content that I push out there for this game. So if you're enjoying the game like I am, be sure to do that. And then let's go ahead and get started with today's video on how you can defeat Moloch, the third official boss. Alright, so moving on to the third official major boss fight of Outriders, Mr. Altered Moloch. Now, as always, if you find that these tips are not helping you defeat him, then chances are you may just need to temporarily turn down your world tier level to a lower tier, thus making the fight a bit easier. Be aware that in the last video I noted that the progression of your current tier would wipe if you did this, and unfortunately I was ever so wrong. So again, feel free to crank that down a level or two if nothing is working. However, for those that love a challenge and don't mind dying repeatedly, I will share my strategies with you for this fight. Alright, so this boss fight with Moloch is pretty straightforward, which in my opinion is why it can be difficult for some. For starters, there is no cover, and you are constantly on the move, and Moloch does his fire-based anomaly skills in every single direction that you take. Be aware that Moloch only has one actual health bar, so this fight doesn't have any changes or different stages that you need to adjust to. This actually helps make the fight a bit more easier, because if you can find your groove, learn his anomaly power patterns and so forth, it's literally a rinse and repeat fight. Therefore, it is absolutely critical you focus on understanding his anomaly powers in order to win. Now, before I actually start explaining his anomaly powers and how to avoid them, I want to make it very clear that it is absolutely critical you always keep an eye on what he is about to cast, so that way you can determine what your movement is. So let's start with Fire Dash, which is something you need to avoid at all times. If you watch Moloch, he will crouch back a bit and then immediately dash at you with fire in his trail. Now, although this doesn't do as much damage, it can interrupt you and is usually followed up with a flame smash, which does some devastating damage that you want to avoid. My best suggestion is to dodge at the last second, and if timed correctly, not only will Fire Dash be avoided, but you can then rotate to the opposite side of the battle arena to stay the hell away from him. Again, this is a ranged attack, so if you happen to dodge it, feel free to take a couple of shots at Moloch to chip away at his health. Next up is Solar Blast, which, similar to Fire Dash, you can tell exactly when Moloch is about to cast a skill, because he takes the same gesture as Fire Dash except shoots a fiery Kamehameha wave directly at you. Now this, unfortunately, if not avoided, can do some serious damage and does inflict burn on you, so this should be avoided at all times if you can. The same approach can be taken with the Fire Dash, and that's to dodge at the very last second. Of all of the anomaly powers, I would say chances are you'll get hit the most with this attack just based on the mechanics in the game at the time, so be very vigilant when Moloch is casting this. Now, following Solar Blast, we have one of the most annoying, and that is Wandering Flame. Now, as you are avoiding Moloch's anomaly powers and running opposite side of the arena he is on, unfortunately Wandering Flame, being a giant flame tornado, is always going to be coming for you, which can be a big problem if you're not paying attention and find yourself engulfed in it. Not only does it deal some serious damage over time, but also applies burn, so if Moloch doesn't kill you up close with Flame Barrage or Flame Smash, this definitely will. The Wandering Flame isn't too hard to avoid, however it can push you directly towards him, which is the bigger issue, so I would recommend to avoid this of course, but try to do it in a way that you can still space yourself from Moloch. Now moving on to Flame Barrage, which shouldn't be too much of an issue unless you're not paying attention to the indicators on the ground. So if you happen to look at either Moloch and Flame Barrage is above his head being cast, or you spot blue circle indicators on the ground near you, get the hell away from these, because they will light the ground on fire, cause some serious damage to you, and apply burn as well. For the most part, Moloch will cast this only if you're pretty far away from him, but that is good because you should be keeping your distance at all times. So while it may be a pain to avoid, if you actually see these indicators or you see that Moloch is casting this, just know that you're keeping your distance as you should. Last but not least is Flame Smash, which of course is a close range anomaly power cast by Moloch. Moloch simply raises his fist, smashes the ground, causing damage to anyone within a small radius around this. This move deals some major damage as well, but you should not be too worried as you should be keeping your distance at all times. If you happen to have trouble avoiding Fire Dash, however, Flame Smash will be an immediate follow-up in which you need to dodge or sprint out of that small radius. Now, similar to the Molten Ikari, snipers, semi-automatic rifles, and assault rifles are going to be your biggest friend here. SMGs or shotguns will not help because they require you to be close to Moloch to deal damage, and the amount of risk you inherit close to him is enough to get you killed. I mainly used a semi-automatic rifle when fighting him because it doesn't require you to look down the scope while ADSing, which lets you focus a lot of attention on what Moloch is casting or for those sneaky blue indicators on the ground. For abilities, of course, it will vary on the class, but try to use medium to long range abilities to keep your distance but to help chip away at his health as well. Effects like Ash or Freeze are great for temporarily stopping him if you need to heal or rotate, in which you can then apply those via the crafting options available at camp if you happen to dismantle a weapon of that same tier with that mod. Now, if you're unfamiliar with crafting or how that actually works, I will have a video up very soon on this channel, or it probably is up, that goes in depth explaining everything you need to know about crafting. So be sure that, if you would like to look at that, you go ahead and check the channel for that video. Now, last but not least, since I have mentioned it a few times already, constant movement and keeping your distance is going to be key to this fight. There is no cover when you fight Moloch, so your main priority is to be constantly moving on the outside of the arena as much as possible and taking small headshots on Moloch when you can until he dies. If you try to get too close or you get greedy with your shots, it will more than likely not end well, leaving you frustrated that you have died for the 1000th time. Alright, Outriders, so those are some very important tips for defeating the official third boss of the game, Altered Moloch. I do hope you found this video helpful, and if so, be sure to become a subscriber by tapping that subscribe button. If you do, I promise to provide some very helpful guides, tips, farming methods, and more very soon for the game. In the comments below, if you're still having troubles or have some better tips that will help others, just comment them and share. My name is Silverback, our quest is complete, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.